Over the last 3 years, I've been using these AirPods Pro 2, and they are amazing, they're still amazing, and I'm in love. But because of life, I've decided to try something else. I've decided to take a risk and decided to go with the Nothing Ear 3. Are they really worth the switch? Let's find out. These AirPods 2 has been with me every single day since I bought them. Literally every single day. Everywhere where I take my phone, I do take these AirPods with me. Earbuds are nowadays super important in my life. I use them to sport, I use them to travel, I use them just to walk around, I use them to go skiing. It doesn't matter, I use them everywhere. Even when I'm doing my phone calls, even when I'm doing my work calls, I'm using these. These are super important. Teams, no matter what, no matter the computer I'm using the AirPods. So just to show you, just to tell you that these are super important in my life. But because life, as I already said, I decided to buy the Nothing Ear 3. Why the Nothing Ear 3? Well, my girlfriend didn't have any earbuds and she needed one. But we didn't want to break the bank, and we thought, instead of buying AirPods Pro 2, instead of buying those new ones, let me take a risk. I'm giving you these and I'm buying these new ones. I've been seeing the Nothing brands everywhere a little bit and they seem cool. They seem kind of cool. They have good reviews and I thought, let's give it a try. It's been now 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks I've been using them, and I thought, what? Let me give a review and let me get a little deeper into a comparison between those two. So I'm a simple guy who is just going to talk about these AirPods. I just do sport, I work, but I like tech. And that's why I wanted to make this video. This video is going to be split up in different categories, starting with the design, the comfort, the sound quality. And yes, you were going on the sound quality. I don't have like a special thing and everything to let you hear how they sound, but I'm going to give you my best opinion possible and as comprehensive as possible, all right? Going into connectivity, features, ecosystem all in one, battery life, super important, and to close off, just my opinion, my conclusion. So watch till the end to find out if I really feel like the AirPods Pro 2 are maybe overpriced compared to those. Let's dive in. Okay, the first thing I wanted to talk about is the design about both. Let's first talk about the case design. In general, the case design, I feel like the Nothing Ear made like something else. We know that Apple is made to something slick, something very simple, modern, and cool. But this is even cooler. I feel like these Nothing Ear are super cool. The way that you can see the earbuds, the little touch of color, because it's white and black and silver, and like the red color over here, the red color over there, it's super cool. I feel like that's super cool. And then you see also the white button. There are some small details that I really enjoy about this design. The fact that it's also like a silver, more aluminum feel. It's maybe aluminum, I think. Yeah, at the bottom, it's super nice. You see that, and the way that they made it, like to see a little bit more of the techie thing, makes it even more cool. There's like a thing here, like where you can put your finger or something. I don't know if that's to grab it easier when it's on the table or something, but really nice. On the bottom itself, you can also see through. You can also see the earbuds. Something you also need to pay attention is that if you're going to be a little dirty and you don't clean your ears, you're going to see everything. You're going to see them here, you're going to see them in the front as well. But more than that, I really like the design, just even maybe a little bit more than the AirPods Pro 2. But they're a little bit bigger. As you see, the case is like a box, a small box, and it's just a little bit bigger. It doesn't really affect in my pocket. I mean, I have my phone in my pocket, I have my earbuds in the pockets. Doesn't really disturb me, but it's something that if you really want something small, the AirPods Pro 2 are maybe going to take the win here. But yeah, honestly, not too big, not even bigger as my hand. I've seen like really big cases and I don't like that. So this is okay. I think this is just a limit in my opinion. If we're continuing talking about the build, these are built very sturdy. Compare them again to the AirPods 2. Those are very sturdy. The case is good. I feel like it's good. There is not really a plasticky clicking or something disturbing like when you compare it to very cheap earbuds. But of course, for the price range, 150 euros, I'm going to put down in dollars how much it is. I feel like Of course, it's logic. They're not going to chip out on the plastic they're using. The aluminum bottom that they used is also super cool and makes it even more sturdy, even more feel like it's a bit stronger, you know? But of course, these are earbuds. If you drop them, yeah, probably going to break. Even though I've dropped those a lot of times and they work fine. I've done a lot of things with these and they were perfectly fine. So yeah, I'm not going to drop them because I'm a little afraid, but they feel good. They feel good and I like that. The clicking of the box is very simple, opens also very easily, so that's super cool. Okay, let's talk about comfort and fit. Honestly, this is a tight one. This is a difficult one, but let me show you. So if I put in the AirPods, I can put it in very easily. You see, I don't have really big ears, so I like when it's something a little bit smaller. And AirPods or just Apple earbuds has always been super comfortable for me. So even the ones, not the AirPods Pro, but just the normal ones, the older ones with cable and everything, I always like them. So this one, super comfortable. They just fit super easily in my ear. Of course, I've been using them for 3 years, so I know super easy how to put them on. The ear tips, I'm using the small ones. I think the smallest ones. And yeah, they never fall off. It depends on the moment, but maybe sometimes when I'm running after 30 minutes or 1 hour, I'm just placing them a little bit better. But they never fell off. I'm jumping around with them. I'm doing all my kind of sports and they never fell off. Super sturdy, super good. I like that. Okay, all right, let's now take and moving on to the nothing ear. These are just a little bit bigger. If you see, the head of the earbud is just a little bit more round. And that makes it just a little bit bigger. I'm not saying they are uncomfortable. I'm just saying that these are just a little bit bigger, so they don't fit into my ear as perfectly as the AirPods. So that's why, I don't know. How do they look? I feel like they look good. I've seen in the mirror, they look good. But because they are just a little bit thicker, they are going to fatigue my fit a little bit more. I'm not going to use them for 2, maybe 3 hours in a row. I'm going to put them off and then, yeah, maybe not use them for a while. And I'm using them again. With the AirPods, I can easily use them 2-3 hours without feeling discomfort, you know? So as you can see, I've been running with them as well, with those Nothing Ear 3, and super good, super easy. No issue at all. They don't fall off. They don't feel like they are going to fall off at all. I'm going with that to the gym. I'm jumping around, doing every stuff I want to. Not a problem at all. It's just about a long-term usage, more than 1 hour, more than 2 hours, where I feel like maybe is going to be, I'm going to be tired of using them a little bit on that same day, and then moving on. So I've been using them even when it's raining outside. I was running when it was raining. No issue at all. 0 issues. So if you just look at my ear, it's about 5 centimeters or something. They're maybe going to fit you a little bit better. My girlfriend feels like these are more comfortable than the AirPods Pro 2. And she has the same type of ear as me. So, you know, it's super difficult to say and super subjective to everyone. If you compare them one to each other, the Nothing Ear are just a little bit bigger. That's the only thing I can say. Okay, talking about the sound quality of both. Honestly, it's a difficult one because I don't have nothing to show you how it sounds, and I'm not someone who really cares about the best sound possible. But I do really find like there is a slight difference in sound quality or maybe in sound balance. These are really made to play with them. The AirPods Pro 2 a little bit less. So I put them more bassy, I put more bass to it, and it sounds more bassy. It's better than this, honestly. It sounds very crisp, both sounds very crisp, but I do feel like, and that's maybe in the next point, talking about noise cancelling and transparency, but I do feel like when transparency is on, the AirPods Pro are just a little bit better in sound. But that's something about the transparency I'm going to talk in the next point. But the cool feature or the cool stuff about the Nothing Ear is that you can personalize it as much as you want. So you can really go very in depth and change the EQ and everything in the app. So that's really cool. You can download it on Android and on Apple. I'm using an iPhone myself, so I can use that super simply, and I can change everything, spatial audio as well. like the AirPods Pro 2. You know, in my opinion, if you really like to play around and if you're listening to multiple things at the same time, so for example, I'm listening a lot to podcasts and I like to listen to good music when I'm at the gym or something. Yeah, so it really depends on my mood. These are really cool. I can play with that if I have some time to play with it. I put it in different settings depending on what I'm listening to. Of course, I'm not going to put it as bassy when I'm listening to podcasts compared to when I'm listening just to music at the gym or something. So that's the really cool part about that. But these are just super simple. You know, the line of sound is good. It's just in the middle. With the AirPods, you don't go too over too bass or too high. It's just crisp enough, just good enough in my opinion. But yeah, those are pretty equal. If you like to play around, I think the edge and the point goes to nothing ear compared to the AirPods Pro. I don't know about you, but noise cancelling is something super important for me. I use that all the time. When I'm running, when I'm at the gym, doesn't matter where when I'm at the office, when I'm calling and everything, I'm using noise cancelling all the time. Honestly, I don't use transparency as much. Sometimes I do put transparency on when, for example, I'm at the office and I'm just talking a little bit with one of the colleagues and everything, but that's it. Most of the time, I just put my earbuds off, I put them on the table and I continue talking. Because I feel like when you're talking to someone, noise cancelling is also a trick one. The AirPods Pro are, in my opinion, a 8 out of 10. Not 10 out of 10 because I feel noise cancelling is so good. But these are pretty good. You know, when you're listening to music, not podcasts, but listening to music at the gym where there's a lot of sound, a lot of people just doing their stuff and music in the background, these are good with music, super good. You don't hear anything. Maybe sometimes, and that's why I'm giving them an 8 out of 10, sometimes you hear just a little bit of the music. If you're turning your music off, you're hearing a little bit more of the music. I'm not saying you could really feel the music outside, you know what I'm talking about, but you hear it a little bit. You could not really make conversations with noise cancelling only if you're with someone just talking in front of you, but not comfortable to do that. Whereas with the nothing ear, I'm giving it honestly a 7 out of 10, just behind and just under the AirPods Pro 2. The noise cancelling is super good, but not as good as the AirPods Pro 2. I need to be honest here, not as good, because I feel like I still hear just a little bit more of the music outside at the gym, for example. So I click on the earbud and then I feel like, oh no, now it's transparency, I put that back on noise cancelling and I feel like, okay, this is noise cancelling. If I put music on, I don't hear anything around me, that's good. But if I'm listening to a podcast, for example, then yes, I'm going to hear just a little bit more. So really, if you're looking for the most noise cancelling possible, go to headphones. If not, stay with the AirPods, are just a little bit better, but just a little bit better. I'm not saying they are much better, but you can hear a small difference. When we're talking about transparency, the nothing ear are also losing points. I'm giving transparency a 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10, and transparency on the AirPods Pro 2 an 8.5. You know, the only thing I don't like, or the thing I like the least about the nothing ear, is that when you turn on the transparency mode, you hear like a small windy sound the whole time. Very small, but when there is nothing around you, when you're just in your room, for example, and you're turning on the transparency mode, you feel like, is there any machine on that you're hearing? But it's so small that you don't care about it when you're doing your stuff, but when you're distracted a little bit, then you hear it, okay? The transparency on the nothing ears is created, you know, is digitally created more compared to these ones. So that's why I'm not saying it's bad. You can hear the person in front of you very clearly. And you can hear people talking around very clearly, you can hear everything super good, but you hear like two things. The whoosh sound, very small, and it's a little bit more robotic, but just a little bit. You don't need to imagine a robot talking, but just a little bit, compared to these where it feels like it's supernatural, or very natural. Not super, but very natural, hearing people talking in transparency mode. So yeah, again, giving the point to the AirPods Pro 2, but yeah, that's also the price range you're paying. You're paying around 100 euros difference. So it's logic that somewhere you're going to lose some things. I lost something in the noise cancelling and transparency, just a little bit. Is it worth going back to the AirPods Pro 2? I don't know. I think I'm okay with this, with the 7 out of 10. honestly. Oh yeah, and I didn't talk about the ambient mode, you know, the mode that is just in neutral when you turn on your earbuds. Honestly, I always turn that off. For me, it's noise cancelling or transparency, but I did test it out and they're pretty equal. They're pretty equal because it really depends on the tip you're using. So let me show you. The tip you're using, sometimes you can change the tips and use a bigger one, but more than that, it's very, very similar. So I don't know if you're using the ambient sound, and I don't know why you would. You want to hear or you don't want to hear. That's it. That's why I think you use the AirPods, the transparency mode or the noise cancelling. So yeah, you have the option. You have the 3 options like with the AirPods, so that's good. And you can change between them, or you can just turn off the ambient mode and just change between noise cancelling and transparency mode like on the AirPods Pro 2. Now, features, connectivity, ecosystem, all in one. Of course, and that's clear, and I think everyone knows it. If you have everything Apple related, this working into your ecosystems, the Apple AirPods are amazing, are just super good. They switch super easily between my MacBook, my iPad, and my iPhone. Super, super, super simple. But they don't switch as easy when you're using other devices. If, for example, I'm using my HP laptop, which I have for my work, and then I'm using also my tablet, my iPad, I don't switch as easy. I really need to go into the settings, I need to click them. Sometimes I even need to click and repair, you know, with a button here behind on the AirPods Pro 2. Repair with, doesn't matter which device, but depending on which device I'm using, repair to the other one if I'm not using within the same Apple ecosystem. So that's a downside if you're using something else, you know. If you're only using Apple, of course, this is going to be a super, super fast, super easy switch. It takes like literally 1 second, maybe 2 seconds to switch between one device to the other one. And when like you start playing something on the other device, it automatically switches to the other one. That's super cool. That's super nice. About connectivity for the Nothing Ear, the good thing is that you can pair 2 devices at the same time. So literally, I can connect my HP computer and my iPhone to the earbuds. And then when I'm listening to something on the HP computer, I'm just working. Then someone calls me, I'm just clicking, I'm just responding, answering, and then I can just start talking. Connectivity is super easy. It maybe takes 2 seconds, not even. So when it's paired with 2 devices, it's okay. It's only when you're paired with the 3rd device, for example, in my case, I'm using my PC, I'm using my tablets, I'm using my iPhone. And then when I'm paired to 3, sometimes it doesn't know which one to choose. So sometimes I turn on my computer, my tablet, and my iPhone, and it connects, for example, to my PC and my tablet where I wanted to connect it to my iPhone. So I need to manually click on the settings. Again, it takes maybe 5 seconds and then it's connected because it does know it because of Bluetooth, you know. It stays in the settings, so that's easy. It takes 5 seconds, not more than that, so that's good. So, you know, the switch between devices is also very good. If you're using 3 devices at the same time, it's maybe a little bit more complicated if you're not in this ecosystem. So yeah, that's not a downside, honestly, but you need to be aware of that you need to sometimes click and change. It takes you maybe 5 seconds again, but you need to do that. It's not automatic with all the devices. Only when you're working with 2 devices, then it's pretty seamlessly and pretty easy to use. The first time I paired this Nothing Ear to any device, it took me maybe 20 seconds, not even, just the time to understand that you need to click on the bottom here a little bit longer, find it on the other device. So it pairs very fast as well. Doesn't have any issue with that, and I did found it on all the I tried it out. So pairing with this is also super easy. Next feature that we need to talk about is earbuds itself. Changing music, lowering down your volume, putting your volume higher, changing between modes, transparency mode, noise cancelling, and everything. On the AirPods, it's super easy, okay? 1 click is just pause the music or answer the phone call. 2 clicks is next music. 3 clicks is going back. And then just holding is changing the mode, transparency mode, noise cancelling. The cool feature is when you want to increase your volume or lowering down your volume, you just swipe up or you swipe down. Swipe up or swipe down, super easily. You know, here you have like a touch thing on the earbud, super easy, going up or going down. And it's sensible and it always works. For me, it always worked. So I'm used to that. 3 years using that, I'm used to that. Now, With the Nothing Ear, it's a little bit different. You don't have the touchy thing, the touchy place similar to the AirPods. Here is more clicking. You click on the earbuds, you click on the earbuds. Okay, it's the same. You can change. The good thing is that you can also choose in the app which mode you want or which clicking you want to use for what. Okay, so I kept almost the same thing. Answering one click. One click is also pausing or starting the music. 2 clicks is next music. 3 clicks is going back. And now another one to change modes. It's clicking and clicking a second time, but the second time you hold it. So you need to think about that, honestly, and that's changing modes. I said that to that. For now, I'm testing out different modes, different features, different clickings, but clicking second time and holding. Then you change modes between transparency and between noise cancelling. Where the downside of these is that how do you do the volume? And I'm still thinking about it. Right now on the left ear is just going down and the right ear is going up. So you just click once and you hold it, it's going down, 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 and you hear the clicks, click, click, a small click, 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 click. When you want to go up, you click on the right side and it goes up, 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 up. And it's again a small click, all right? So it's okay. But if, for example, you are holding your something in your hand and you only have your left hand free, yeah, clicking on the right side, I don't know, you prefer to click on your left side, and it was easier with the AirPods because you swipe up or you swipe down. Now I only have, for my to lower the volume, I only have the left side, and then I need to click on the right side. So it's a little bit more of thinking, and I just need to play a little bit around with the app itself to see which fits the best, because I'm really used to that, but it doesn't matter. In general, everything works well. The clicking works super good, so it's not a problem about that. It's just a problem about feeling how the clickings can be and the shortcuts I can use with the AirPods itself. Something I've not mentioned, I forgot to mention, but when you're changing between modes, so between noise cancelling and transparency. So as I said, you click once, you click second time and you hold it. Then now I went to transparency mode, and it makes like a, it's just funny, but it makes like a sound, like a woman just breathing. It's that sound. And when you click, and I'm doing it again, clicking second time and holding, it makes like a swoosh sound, and then you get into your own bubble. So it's a cool effect. If you don't like that, I've not found how to turn that off. But if you don't like, yeah, every time hearing, it's a small sound, but it's a little bit longer compared to the AirPods. When you're using the AirPods, let me try it out again. You need, of course, both. You hold it, and it just turned into your noise cancelling, and then it makes like a little click sound, like bling. Okay, talking about the app. As you know, I've mentioned it over the whole video. There is an app, Nothing Ear app, Nothing app, that you can use and where you can personalize some things. And honestly, it's a little bit better than the native settings for the Apple AirPods. In the app, you can change equalizer, you can put a bass enhancement, spatial audio, change of course between modes, put a low lag mode, that's good for when you're using with gaming, for example, low latency mode or something like that. The dual device connection, multi-point, that's good, as I already mentioned. And then when you're comparing to the AirPods Pro 2, you have the spatial audio, you can have some settings for the audio, but not as deep as the equalizer you have on the Nothing app. You can change the mic, but that's super simple, just using 2 mics or just using the left or the left or the right mic, and then maybe hearing protection and stuff like that, but just fewer personalization overall. You know, on the Nothing Ear and on the AirPods, you can create a profile, like using what's best for you, do you hear the best and everything. So it's a little test that you do on both. You can do that. So the app is really nice, super user-friendly, and you can add other stuff from Nothing as well. So they have the other earbuds, and they also have like headphones. The app is super easy to use. You use that, you connect that, and you change what you want to change. The last feature, before moving on to the last point, the last feature that Apple doesn't have, and it maybe is a big difference, maybe, I'm saying maybe, big maybe, is the talk button over here. So you have a super mic. You also have that on the app, of course, but you have the super mic with the case. For example, I'm putting in my earbuds and someone calls me, I answer, and I start talking. They hear me clearly. I feel like when I was trying them out and comparing AirPods to the Nothing Ear, not a big difference. Maybe just even a better mic on the Nothing Ear when there is a little bit more sound around you. Of course, when you're using the AirPods, you can turn on in the settings when you're calling to have noise cancelling, but you can turn that off or turn that on, how you want. Then on the Nothing Ear, I feel like as I said, the mic is just a little bit better when there is a crowd around you, when there is a lot of noise around you, but when there is nobody, it feels like the same. It sounds the same, very similar at least. But you have a super mic, and this is yet even more powerful, and is when, again, you're in a crowded space, in a metro, in a bus, doesn't matter, at the gym, and someone calls you, you have your earbuds on, you take your case, and you click like twice on the button, and then the green light is on. It does mean that this is taking the mic. So you can, next to the bottom, you can see the small mic here, and also the USB-C port. But here is the small mic, and you can just literally talk at this distance when you're walking around, when you're doing your stuff, just holding something. It's like a small mic you're talking into, so it should work better than the earbuds, and just a better, stronger mic when you're talking into. And you have different features where you click twice and then it turns on, or when you click once and you keep it clicked in and then you talk, and it's like more a talkie-walkie mode. You click in, you talk, you remove, the person is talking, and that's it, you know. Click twice, it turns on, and you keep talking, blah blah blah, and you keep saying what you want to, I love you too, whatever, and you turn it off by clicking again. So now I am using the AirPods Pro 2 in my ears. How do I sound? Is everything clear? Hi, I'm testing now the mic of the earbuds, the Nothing Ear 3, just the mics in my ears. How can you hear me? Is everything clear? Of course, it does not work when you don't have your earbuds on. So if I'm putting my earbuds back and I try to use it, it will not work. It needs to be connected. The light is going to turn on, not even, you see, but yeah, it's not going to work. So that's that. Yeah, it's difficult to really make between earbuds and earpods. You know that with the AirPods, with the Apple ecosystem, you can find them more easily because there is a tracker and everything. So yeah, a point for them. If you lose them, if you know that you're not going to lose them, for example, like me, I'm always having them by my phone, so I'm not going to lose them. That's okay. That's a fair point. All right, last point before going into the conclusion. I feel like I was talking about an hour about these. You have always so much to say about things, and you can go deeper and everything. So last point I wanted to talk about is, of course, the battery life. I think very important for most of you, very important for me as well, because I like to use them a lot. I do have the good habit to charge them just randomly. I charge them maybe every day. I put them in the charger. For the AirPods and for the Nothing Ear, I just put them always in the charger. That's super easy. The good thing about the AirPods is that I can place them into the MagSafe charger and it starts to charge. This is not magnetic and it doesn't charge in the back or something. So I really need to connect the cable in here, but it's a small struggle. Now, the battery life itself. I honestly feel like the battery life is smaller on the Nothing. Yeah, I feel that because I'm not using them more than 2 hours or maybe 3 hours per day, but I'm just taking them all around with me, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. And I felt like the battery life of the case was faster gone compared to the AirPods. So I can easily go a week by without charging them. As I said, I'm using them like an hour or two a day and not consistently. You know, I use them, I leave it and put them back. I use them, I put them back, and like that I could use them easily 4 to 5 days, easily with this. With these ones, I feel like after 4 to 5 days, they're going to be in red, okay? Because I didn't have the the habit or the issue with the AirPods, I didn't think about it. Sometimes I just don't charge them. And then last time I saw that they were at 5%. And I was like, it's pretty fast. And I've not used them more throughout my days compared to the AirPods in other periods of time. So honestly, I think if you look at the numbers, yes, the battery is just a little bit smaller, but it doesn't make a huge difference. It's a very small difference. You can go, I think, easily about 3 to 4 hours listening to something. And of course, if you're turning on your noise cancelling or transparency mode, it's going to be just a little bit less, but I'm always using them with transparency mode or with noise cancelling. So 3 to 4 hours, super easy with that. And with the case as well, the case is good, but I feel like, again, the case of the AirPods Pro, battery life is just a little bit better. So that was it. I think that if you're comparing both, I'm going to sit down to compare both again and to make my final conclusion. So yeah, I'm happy with these and I'm still going to use these ones. What did you think about both? Do you think like it's really worth, or is there something in between that's even better? Let me know in the comments what you think. Which one are you going to use? Let me know in the comments. And if you liked the video, if you liked my opinion and everything I told you, please don't forget to like, subscribe, because it helped me create more videos about stuff like this, tech, which I like, and help other people giving some tips, some reviews, because it can always help when we talk about tech. So if that's the case, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Let's get jacked together.